Welcome to the Polished Mind, where subtle behaviors reveal powerful truths. Let's dive in.
Intelligence isn't always loud, and it doesn't need to be. Many of the brightest minds walk quietly through life, uninterested in putting their cleverness on display. Yet, some individuals unknowingly adopt habits that send the opposite message, that they're trying a little too hard to appear intellectually superior. These habits may appear harmless, even confident, but they often reveal more about a person's insecurities than their intellect. Intelligence is rarely about showing off. Instead, it manifests in self-awareness, curiosity, empathy, and the humility to not need constant validation. Below are 11 seemingly innocent behaviors that often signal someone isn't quite as smart as they believe. If these show up often, they might be more about ego than intellect. Number 1. Over-explaining the obvious. When someone frequently breaks down concepts most people already understand, it can come across as out of touch with the room. While the intention might be to be helpful, this kind of over-explanation often signals a form of intellectual arrogance. It sort of assumes others lack understanding unless everything is spelled out. Truly intelligent individuals tend to observe the room before they speak. They value others' insights and honestly only elaborate when it's genuinely necessary. Number 2. Constantly playing devil's advocate. It's healthy to think critically, but reflexively opposing every idea doesn't really signal wisdom. It often reveals a need to dominate the conversation. Continual contrarianism can exhaust others and stall meaningful dialogue. While it might seem like an act of intellectual rigor, constantly playing devil's advocate tends to be more about appearing sharp than genuinely seeking truth. People with deeper intelligence usually ask insightful questions instead of challenging every single point. Number 3. Belittling others who think differently. Dismissing someone for their differing views, whether political, cultural, or personal, is one of the clearest signs of intellectual immaturity. Rather than being a mark of intelligence, this behavior often points to insecurity or a lack of nuanced understanding. Those who are truly wise understand that diverse perspectives are often shaped by experiences, values, and information access. Smart people can challenge ideas without demeaning the people behind them. Number 4. Correcting people over trivial mistakes. Fixating on small errors, like mispronunciations, grammar slips, or inconsequential details, might feel like intellectual sharpness, but it typically doesn't add much to a conversation. In most cases, it disrupts the flow and comes across as performative. Those with emotional and intellectual maturity know when it's worth offering correction and when silence preserves dignity and momentum. The need to point out tiny flaws often reveals a deeper need to feel superior. Number 5. Using complicated words when simpler ones would do. An impressive vocabulary doesn't always translate to intelligence. When someone deliberately uses overly complex language in everyday conversations, it can actually reduce clarity and impact. True intelligence values communication over decoration. The smartest communicators aim to be understood, not to impress. Their word choice serves the message, not their ego. Number 6. Scoffing at mainstream interests. Turning up one's nose at popular hobbies, music, shows, or books might be disguised as taste, but it often suggests narrow thinking. Dismissing the common as unintelligent usually reveals more about one's desire to be seen as unique or superior than it does about their intellectual depth. Highly intelligent people typically find value across a wide range of experiences. They understand that even mass appeal can hold complex themes, and that condescension is not a trait of wisdom. Number 7. Being overly opinionated on topics barely understood. When someone expresses strong opinions on subjects they've only scratched the surface of, it tends to come off as confident ignorance. People who lack depth often fill the void with certainty. Those who are well-informed usually speak with more nuance and restraint. They understand how much they still don't know, and that makes them more careful with their words. Number 8. Needing to have the final word. Insisting on wrapping up every discussion with a personal conclusion or summary is often more about control than understanding. This habit doesn't necessarily make someone smarter. It often indicates a fear of ambiguity or a desire to be seen as dominant. Truly intelligent individuals are, comfortable letting conversations remain open-ended. They value understanding over victory and often allow ideas to breathe. Number 9. Name-dropping books, thinkers, or theories. Citing well-known figures or referencing academic ideas might appear intellectual at first glance. But when someone habitually name-drops without clear relevance, it can feel like a rehearsed act designed to impress rather than inform. People with deeper knowledge naturally incorporate references when appropriate, not to signal intelligence, but honestly to enhance the conversation. Number 10. Dismissing emotional responses as illogical. When someone consistently invalidates emotions by labeling them irrational or unnecessary, they often reveal an incomplete view of intelligence. While logic plays a vital role in decision-making, emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, respect, and work with emotions, is just as crucial. Genuine intellectual maturity embraces both reason and empathy. It acknowledges that feelings are data too, and often provide context that logic alone can't. Number 11. Prioritizing being right over being accurate. When someone refuses to adjust their stance in light of new evidence, they're not demonstrating strength, they're revealing rigidity. The desire to win debates or just preserve our pride often overrides the pursuit of truth. But those with real intellectual confidence, they're flexible thinkers. They're not afraid to admit when they're wrong, simply because they value growth over ego. So, just some final thoughts here. True intelligence is rarely performative. It doesn't really show up in flashy displays or, wordy monologues. Instead, it's found in the humility to listen, the courage to ask questions, and the wisdom to adapt. The smartest people in the room are often not the loudest or the most forceful. Instead, they're usually the most observant, the most empathetic, and definitely the most self-aware. And honestly, it's not about avoiding these habits entirely. Everyone slips into them now and then. But if they start to become a pattern, it's worth asking yourself whether the goal is to connect or just to impress. Because at the end of the day, intelligence is most powerful when it's not trying to prove itself.
Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay sharp, stay polished.